A very good evening to all. Today my topic of continuous physiotherapy education is asthma and its physiotherapy management. Myself, Dr. Henna H. Parikh. I am working as Junior Cardiac Physiotherapist Grade 1 in UN Mehta Institute of Cardiology and Research Center. In today's topic, we will see definitions, introduction, epidemiology, etiology, triggers, pathophysiology, classifications, signs and symptoms, investigations and management. Now we'll see definition. Asthma is a chronic inflammatory condition associated with airway hyperresponsiveness, that is exaggerated airway narrowing response to specific triggers such as viruses, allergens and exercises. According to WHO, asthma is a chronic lung disease affecting people of all ages. It is caused by inflammation and muscle tightening around the airways, which makes it harder to breathe. Symptoms can be include coughing at night and early morning, wheezing, shortness of breath and chest tightness. Now introduction. Asthma is a variable airflow syndrome of bronchial inflammation pathologically by eosinophils, physically by hyperactivity and clinically by cough. Asthma is a major non-communicable disease affecting both children and adults with high morbidity and relatively low mortality compared with other chronic disease. This is image where we can see normal airway or healthy airway, and other side it is inflamed airway where there is a thickening of airway wall and mucus secretion is caused. Asthma is a condition in which your airway narrow and swell and may produce extra mucus. This can make breathing difficulty and trigger coughing, a whistling sound when you breathe out and shortness of breath. For some people, asthma is a minor problem, but for others, it can be major problem that interfere with daily activities and may lead to a life-threatening asthma attack. Asthma cannot be cured, but its symptoms can be controlled. Because asthma often changes over the time, it is important that you work with your doctor to track your signs and symptoms and adjust your treatment as needed. Now we'll see epidemiology. Prevalence of asthma increased in last century in developed countries. In 300 million people in the worldwide, 100 million people having asthma. It affects both children and adults. Females are more prone to have asthma than males. Now we'll see etiology. There are many factors have been linked to an increased risk of developing asthma, although it is often difficult to find a single or direct cause. Asthma is more likely if other family members also have asthma, particularly close relatives such as a parent or sibling. It influences environmental exposure like smoke, dust from home, pollen from plants, exercise, infection, common colds such as bacterial. What triggers asthma? Viral respiratory tract infection, exercise and use of aspirin and beta blockers, gastroesophageal reflux disease, and environmental allergens, insects, plants, chemical fumes, tobacco smoke, and emotional factor or stress. Now pathophysiology. Asthma is associated with T helper cell type 2, that is Th2 immune response. Elevated level of Th2 cells in the airway releases specific cytokines including interleukin 4, interleukin 5, interleukin 9 and interleukin 13 and promote eosinophilic inflammation and immunoglobulin E production. Ig production in turn triggers the release of inflammatory mediators such as histamine and cysteine leukotrienes that cause bronchospasm, that is contraction of smooth muscle in the airway. It causes edema and increased mucus secretion which lead to the characteristic symptoms of asthma. This is pathophysiology. If person exposure to allergen and irritants, it stimulates Ig, that is immunoglobulin E, and it causes mast cell degranulation. This releases histamine, prostaglandins, bradykinin and leukotrienes. This causes airway hyperresponsiveness that cause mucus secretion, inflammation and bronchospasm, and that leads to non-productive cough, shortness of breath, chest tightness and peak flow variability. Because of the release of immunoglobulin E antibody in the bloodstream, it releases protease that can damage tissue. Leukotrienes can cause bronchoconstriction in the smooth muscle, and histamine can increase the mucus production. Now we'll see classification. There are two types of classification of asthma, that is extrinsic asthma and intrinsic asthma. Extrinsic asthma, it is also called as atopic asthma, and it shows Ig response positive. In intrinsic asthma, it is also called as non-atopic asthma, it shows Ig response negative. In extrinsic asthma, usually it begins in childhood or early adulthood. There is a personal and or family history of preceding allergies, hypersensitivity to allergens, increased Ig level in serum and positive skin test. In intrinsic asthma, it develops in later adulthood, no family history of preceding allergies, no recognizable allergens, normal Ig level, symptoms come on after respiratory infection, emotional reactions, exercises, handling chemicals, taking aspirin, etc. Now signs. Asthma signs and symptoms that are more frequent and bothersome. Increased difficulty in breathing as measured with a device used to check how well your lungs are working. For some people, asthma signs and symptoms flare up in certain situations like exercise-induced asthma, which may be worsened when the air is cold and dry. Occupational asthma, triggered by workplace irritants such as chemical fumes, gases, or dust. Allergy-induced asthma, it is triggered by airborne substances such as pollen, mold spores, cockroach waste, or particle of skin and dried saliva shared by the pets. Now we'll see the symptoms. Asthma symptoms vary from person to person. You may have infrequent asthma attack, have symptoms only at certain times, such as when exercising, or have symptoms all the time. Asthma signs and symptoms include shortness of breath, chest tightness or pain, wheezing when exhaling, which is common sign of asthma in children, trouble sleeping caused by shortness of breath, coughing or wheezing. Coughing or wheezing attacks that are worsened by respiratory viruses such as cold or the flu. Recurrent paroxysmal attack of cough, chest tightness and difficulty breathing, often accompanied by audible wheezing. Thick and tenacious sputum which may be difficult to explorate. Symptoms free between attacks. Prolonged expiration, high pitch expiratory and possibly inspiratory wheeze throughout both lungs. Then tachypnea, possible sign of respiratory distress, increased use of accessory muscle and intercostal retraction or nasal flaring. Now we'll see the investigations. Asthma is investigated by chest X-ray, FeNO test, that in that you have to breathe into a machine that measures the level of nitric oxide in your breath, which is a sign of inflammation in your lung. Skin prick test, total Ig plus or minus allergen, specific Ig response. Sputum analysis, PFT. In PFT, we can see decreased FEV1 and FVC, decreased FEV1 and FVC ratio, and decreased PEF, that is peak expiratory flow. In CBC, we can see the eosinophil may be present. ABG analysis, in that we can see respiratory acidosis, hypocapnia or reduced PaCO2 during severe attack. In this X-ray, we can see anterior posterior chest radiograph demonstrate a pneumomediastinum in bronchial asthma, and mediastinal air is noted adjacent to the anterior posterior window, and air trapping extend to the neck, especially on the right side. In PFT findings, we can see reduced peak expiratory flow and the curve of expiration is decreased, that caving we can see. Now sputum analysis. In sputum analysis, there is excessive tracheobronchial secretion. In adult, normal value is 100 ml. Sputum is present in later stage of disease. Color of sputum is white or mucoid sputum. Classification, mucoid or purulent or mucopurulent. Miller classification of sputum. There are 5 grades. In grade M1, sputum is mucoid or without pus. Grade 2, grade M2, sputum is mucoid and with pus. Grade P1, sputum is 1/3 purulent and 2/3 mucoid. Grade P2, sputum is 2/3 purulent and 1/3 mucoid. In grade P3, sputum is more than 2/3 purulent. Now we see management. There are goals of management. They are achieve and maintain control of symptoms, prevent asthma exacerbation, maintain pulmonary function as close to normal as possible, prevent asthma mortality, improve quality of life. Achieve and maintain control of symptoms. In that, primary goal of asthma management is to achieve and maintain control of symptoms such as wheezing, coughing, chest tightness and shortness of breath. These allow individuals with asthma to participate in daily activities without limitations and to maintain a good quality of life. Prevent asthma exacerbation. Asthma management aims to prevent or minimize the frequency and severity of asthma exacerbation, which are episodes of acute worsening of symptoms that can be life-threatening if not properly managed. Third is maintain pulmonary function as close to normal as possible. Effective management seeks to preserve and protect the long-term lung function of individuals with asthma, reducing the risk of irreversible airway remodeling and decline in lung function over time. Improve quality of life. Ultimately, the overarching goal of asthma management is to improve the overall quality of life for individuals living with asthma, enabling them to engage in physical activities, sleep well, and participate fully in work, school, and social activities. Now, medical management. Asthma cannot be cured, but there are several treatments available. The most common treatment is used as an inhaler, which deliver medication directly to the lungs. Now we'll see inhaler. It can help control the disease and enable people with asthma to enjoy a normal and active life. There are two types of inhaler we are used as bronchodilators such as salbutamol that open the air passage and relieve symptoms, and other is steroids such as beclomethasone that reduce inflammation in the air passage, which improves asthma symptoms and reduce the risk of severe asthma attack and death. People with asthma may need to use their inhaler every day. Their treatment will depend on frequency of symptoms and the type of inhalers available. Using an inhaler can be difficult, especially for children and during emergency situations. Using a spacer device makes it easier to use an aerosol inhaler. These help the medicine to reach the lungs more easily. A spacer is a plastic container with a mouthpiece or mask at one end and a hole for the inhaler in the other. A homemade spacer made from a 500 ml plastic bottle can be effective as commercially manufactured spacer. Which devices medication deliver demonstration. Breath actuated inhaler, meter dose inhaler with spacer or holding chambers, dry powder inhaler and nebulizers. This is a picture of meter dose inhaler. In that canister is when canister is pushed, they can breathe medicine with aerosol or mouthpiece, and that directly goes to the lungs. This is dry powder inhaler. This is a small video how to use inhalation pump. In that there is a device which is called as spacer. In that drug is delivered and the person have to inhale that medicine and that reaches to 70% reaches to the lungs. This is how it directly goes to the lungs. This is image of nebulizer. This is portable nebulizer. In that there is a nape chamber. In that we have to put the medicine and it deliver the medicine through the nose. Now, the GINA level of asthma control. The goal of asthma treatment to achieve and maintain clinical control can be achieved in a majority of patients with a pharmacological intervention strategy. It depends on the severity of attack. Approaches to treatment: prevention of antigen and antibody reaction. Then second is neutralization of IgE antibody by omalizumab. Suppression of inflammation and bronchial hyperreactivity by corticosteroids. Prevention of release of mediators by mast cell stabilizers. Antagonism of released mediators by leukotrienase antagonist. Block of constrictor neurotransmitter by anticholinergics. Mimicking dilator neurotransmitter by sympathomimetics. Direct acting bronchodilators by methylxanthine. Asthma medications. According to symptoms, patients should get fast acting rescue medicines, long-term treatments, or both. Short acting beta agonist, it is first choice for quick relief from asthma symptoms. This inhaled quick relief bronchodilator act within minutes to rapidly ease symptoms during an asthma attack. It includes albuterol, epinephrine, and levobuterol. Anticholinergics, ipratropium lessen mucus in addition to opening your airways. They take longer to work than short-acting beta agonist. Oral corticosteroids such as methylprednisolone and prednisone lower swelling in your airways. Combination quick relief medicines have both an anticholinergic and a short-acting beta agonist. Long-term medications, this treat symptoms and prevent asthma attacks. They reduce swelling and mucus in your airways, so they are less sensitive and less likely to react to asthma triggers. Inhaled corticosteroids are most effective long-term control medicines, include beclomethasone, budesonide, fluticasone, mometazole, and cislesonide. Inhale long-acting beta agonist. Open your airways by relaxing the smooth muscles around them. Include formoterol, salmeterol, and vilanterol. Combination inhaled medicine have an inhaled corticosteroid along with a long-acting beta agonist and sometimes also an anticholinergic. This is an easy way to take them together. They are Advair, Breo, Dulera, Symbicort, and Trelegy ellipta. Now, biologics. They target a cell or protein in your body to prevent airway inflammation. They can be expensive, so they are used when other treatment does not work. They include benralizumab, dupilumab, mopelimumab, omalizumab, and reslizumab. Now, leukotriene modifiers are relaxes smooth muscle around your airways and ease swelling. It includes montelukast, zafirlukast, and zileton. Now, cromolyn, they prevent your airway from swelling when they come in contact with asthma trigger. It is non-steroid medicine that comes in an inhaler, that is theophylline. Long-acting bronchodilators, they are used along with corticosteroids. Now, corticosteroids, this is used when no other medicine get under control attack of asthma. There are two types of medicines. They are one is controller and other is reliever. In controller prevent future attacks, long-term control of asthma, prevent airway remodeling. And what are relievers? They are rescuer medicines, quick relief. It gives quick relief of symptoms used during acute attacks, and action lasts for 4 to 6 hours. These are controller and relievers. In that, anti-inflammatory action to prevent asthma attacks. They sustain bronchodilators action but weak or unproven anti-inflammatory effect. Inhaled corticosteroids at beclomethasone, budesonide, fluticasone, and cislesonide. Long-acting beta agonists, they are salmeterol and formoterol. Leukotrienes modifier, it is montelukast and zafirlukast. Oral corticosteroids are prednisone, prednisolone, methylprednisone, and methylprednisolone. And sustained release theophylline preparation. And what are the in relievers for quick relief of symptoms and use in acute attacks dosage only. Short-acting beta agonist, they are salbutamol, phenytoterol, terbutaline. Anticholinergics are ipratropium bromide. In drug used in asthma, they are bronchodilators and anti-inflammatory agents. In bronchodilators, beta agonists, they have two types: short-acting beta agonist and long-acting beta agonist, and methylxanthine. Anti-inflammatory agents are degranulation inhibitors, corticosteroids. These are inhaler corticosteroids and oral corticosteroids, and leukotrienase modifier. Now nebulizer. This machine changes asthma medicines from a liquid to a mist, so it's easier to get the medicine into your lungs. It also has a mouthpiece or mask that make it a good option for infants, small children, older adults, or anyone who has trouble using inhaler with spacer. It takes a few more minutes to use than an inhaler. They are mainly bronchodilators like salbutamol and corticosteroids like budesonide. Role of physiotherapy in asthma management. There are three goals of physiotherapy in asthma management. They are airway clearing technique, breathing retraining, and exercise prescription. Airway clearance technique. In that, physiotherapist can teach patient various airway clearance techniques such as postural drainage, chest physiotherapy, and use of device like oscillating positive expiratory pressure device to help remove mucus and improve lung functions. In breathing retraining, physiotherapists work with the patient to improve their breathing patterns, teaching techniques like diaphragmatic breathing, pulse-lip breathing, and controlled breathing exercise to help manage asthma symptoms and improve overall respiratory function. Now, exercise prescription. Physiotherapist can design tailored exercise program for individual with asthma, focusing on activities that can improve cardiovascular fitness and muscle strength and overall physical condition, while also considering asthma specific precautions. In the breathing exercise and techniques, diaphragmatic breathing, also known as bell breathing. This technique focus on using the diaphragm to inhale deeply and exhale slowly, helping to reduce airway restriction and improve gas exchange. In that figure, we can see the person has keep his hand on his belly, and we ask patient to breathe with diaphragm, that is from abdomen. Then controlled breathing. Practicing controlled, paced breathing patterns can help individuals with asthma manage acute symptoms and reduce the risk of hyperventilation during episode of breathlessness. Then pursed-lip breathing. This technique involves inhaling through the nose and exhaling through pursed lip, which helps to slow down the exhalation and maintain airway potency. In this pursed-lip breathing technique, first we have to inhale slowly through your nose, then purse your lip as you would like to whistle, and exhale slowly while keeping your lips pursed. Then yoga and meditation. Incorporating with yoga, mindfulness and meditation practice can help individuals with asthma learn to control their breathing, reduce stress, and improve overall respiratory and mental well-being. Now, airway clearing techniques. In that, postural drainage. This technique involves positioning the body in specific posture to use gravity to help drain mucus from the lung. Physiotherapists work with patients to identify the most effective drainage positions based on their individual needs. Then chest physiotherapy. Chest physiotherapy involves techniques like percussion, vibration, and directed cuffing with help to loosen and mobilize mucus in the airway, making it easier for the patient to cough up and clear the secretions. These are the position of postural drainage. In first image, we can see upper lobe is affected, then patient is in upright position. And these are several positions for postural drainage according to the area affected. References, they are GINA, that is Global Initiative for Asthma, You said IRQ D1 asthma guideline published by NIH, that is National Institute of Heart and Lungs. Thank you.